Welcome back. So today marks 2 years since 21 teenagers died in the Enyobeni tragedy in the Eastern Cape. In April, the South African Human Rights Commission issued a scathing report on the Enyobeni tavern tragedy, blaming Parliament, the police and the Departments of Social Development and Health. While we remember the victims and look back at the progress made, Ntombizonke Mgangala, who lost a family member, is of course the primary guardian of a girl, a young teenage girl who died at that horrific tragedy 2 years ago. She joins us now. Mam Mgangala, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think let's talk about the young lady that you were the primary guardian to, what we know about her, and just your thoughts on where we are right now. 2 years later, do you feel you've seen justice?
Okay. Good morning to you, Naledi, and the viewers out there. On talking about Sisino, who was my niece, it's 2 years now since we have lost her tragically at Scenery Park, Enyobeni tavern. It's still no good news. It's still unhappiness. It's still disappointment. But yet we are still trying to get along with the matter because there is nothing that we can do. She is gone and she won't be able to come back.
Yeah.
Our wish for the tragedy as parents, I'm going to talk about us as a whole as parents. We were hoping that at least by now we will be able to know what exactly happened that led to the death of our children. And you can imagine if at this point in time you don't know what took your loved one away from you, how would you get into circle with the matter? So we're still emotional, broken, we're still wondering, we're still having disappointments. As a result, we don't even know what we will be celebrating or commemorating about the incident.
Yeah, I can just imagine how difficult this is to process because we're talking about very young people here. And so is the view then still of the family that these young people, these 21 young people, could not possibly have died from suffocation?
Of course, yes, ma'am. Remember, suffocation was ruled out from the word go. And not once, several times when we were talking about it, it was ruled out. Even just before we were officially issued with the result, they assured us that they are ruling out suffocation. And what worries us, ma'am, is that people are consuming alcohol outside there. When I'm saying people there, I mean young ones. Even now, most you can hear outside that there are still pens down and so forth, where young ones are excessively consuming alcohol, but they are still alive.
Are you saying that in the community that you are in, this is still happening, that minors are still going into taverns and consuming alcohol?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And everybody knows that, knows what I'm saying. There's always, there's still pens down, there's still minors that are roaming around in taverns in East London. I'm going to talk about East London, where I'm staying. But those children are not dying. So it always wonders us what exactly led to the death of our own children there at Enyobeni Tavern.
Yeah.
So if we could get that, I think at least we could be able to be emotional, okay, and accept the death. But it's so difficult because of such questions that do not have answers that we are having as these parents.
Well, it's a standout that you're saying that even today you're seeing in your own community minors being allowed into taverns to consume alcohol. And of course, the South African Human Rights Commission having issued that report that put a lot of the blame on Parliament, on the police, on the Departments of Social Development, and even health. I mean, does that satisfy families in any way?
It is not satisfying us at all. it is not satisfying us at all. And when it happens, you will hear those that are in authority asking, what are the parents doing? Why are the parents allowing their children to go to the taverns? But the case of the of Enyobeni owner who happened to allow our minors to die inside his tavern was just the conviction was just 5,000 rand each. So how do you think the other tavern owners will learn out of it? So that's why it is still continuing. It's because our justice is too poor. Our justice is unable to make drastic decisions against people who are doing the wrong things within our communities.
Yeah.
Yet they are expecting us as parents to do things that we are unable to do. Remember, as parents, we were taken the right to be able to discipline our children. As a result of that, you are named to be abusing your child if you are disciplining your child.
And of
so
course, just
we in that corner.
Yeah, and of course the families of these parents still waiting for justice. The matter that you're talking about, of course, being from earlier on this year when we did see the owners of the tavern fined 5,000 rand. But that was in the matter of serving alcohol to persons under the age of 18. What is it that you want to see next before I let you go, ma'am?
Okay. Firstly, about the issue of this previous case, we were at least hoping maybe they will stop that tavern owner to be selling alcohol in any manner.
Okay.
They will close his outlets and make sure so that the other tavern owners could learn out of what had happened there. For now, we don't know what happened. What we wish could happen is that justice is for the answers and the justice to be served to whoever is responsible for the tragic.
Mama, we really do appreciate your time. Mama Ntombizonke Mgangala, who is the parent of Unothando, who passed away on this day 22 years ago. 2 years ago at the Enyobeni tavern tragedy. Well, let's take the discussion forward now. We're joined in studio by convener of the National Liquor Traders Organization, or Association rather, like Ntimane. Good morning to you. A mother who says alcohol is still being sold to minors in her community. What do we say to that?
Good morning. And firstly, we would like to continue to send our heartfelt condolences to those families that lost their loved ones, kids who died in an environment where they should not have been. We still continue to say that, these were wholly preventable deaths that should not have taken place. And yes, we do agree with what Mama is saying in terms of our townships, more especially, still selling alcohol to minors, but it's not only restricted to taverns. As you might know, in South Africa, we have about 42,000 taverns, and almost close to 200,000 of the places where alcohol could be found, those are shebeens, meaning it's outlets that do not have a license to sell alcohol. So those are people that are scrupulous, they want to take chances in their communities and sell alcohol without having the necessary documentations to do so. So it is a problem. It means the availability of alcohol in our environments is at an environment, it's a space where even those ones that should not actually be laying their hands on that alcohol are able to. But also we have bottle stores and shopping centers where minors can disguise as adults, wear the civilian clothes and go and buy alcohol. We know that. We have experienced that in KZN and in the Eastern Cape. So I think it will be unfair and disingenuous of us to come here and say that it is not happening. It is happening, and I think it requires us to come together with civil society, community leaders, and ensure that we step out this. But we've also made a call to law enforcement officials that anyone who's caught selling alcohol to minors should actually lose their licenses. But it seems that,
Is that happening? That's the question.
No, it's not happening, and it should be happening. If you look at the slap in the wrist of the owner of Enyobeni Tavern, I mean, that is called comfort for the families. Are the reasons why their children died in that horrific experience at Enyobeni Tavern. So we do believe that a lot can be done, but nothing has been done up to our satisfaction.
Mr. Ntimane, we are, of course, talking about, when we talk about the tavern owners, we're speaking about people that, for the most part, are your members, right? So you speak directly to them. So how do you communicate the message of, well, you need to ensure that you don't sell to minors? Because it seems that there really is very little threat that people are going to lose their licenses. So there's very little accountability.
And we do take full responsibility for that. For example, in the Eastern Cape, as part of our proactive stance to ensure that we stem the tide against alcohol abuse, we are running 4 programs in the month of July with the Eastern Cape Liquor Board, as well as Heineken Beverages, to talk to liquor traders in 4 key regions in that area to ensure that we are able to encourage our members to comply with relevant regulations that govern the sale of alcohol, but also encourage them to serve alcohol in a responsible manner in the outlets. But we do know that we'll get rotten apples, and those are the ones that worries us. Hence, we want to partner with SEBS and the liquor boards to ensure that we stamp out those ones and we flush them out of our system.
I can imagine that for the past 2 years, you've had to deal with the blotch that is, and to say blotch really is an understatement, that is Enyobeni Tavern. How is the Liquor Traders Association, yourself, been trying to be of assistance to this community that we hear now from Mgangala is continuing to be in a crisis of minors being sold alcohol? How are you assisting?
So I think from a liquor trader perspective, we can talk to our traders to ensure that they comply. But I think this requires a holistic approach in ensuring that we stop Enyobeni from happening again. And that requires civil society. And this is something that has not happened. We have not come together with the community there. We have not come together with SABS. We haven't come together with the liquor board to ensure that we find a lasting solution that will address the matters of alcohol abuse, but also serving alcohol to under 18. But this should not only be constricted to, or restricted rather, to Enyobeni, but across all areas in South Africa. The issue of under 18 accessing alcohol is not only in the Eastern Cape problem, but it is a South African problem that I think we need to confront.
Okay, just as we wrap up, the families of 21 young people still waiting for justice, your message to them when we consider the fact that you are representing tavern owners?
I think it's a difficult one, and having to respond to this as a parent myself of teenagers, where 2 years will go by without knowing what happened to your loved ones. I think government needs to level up with the families. They need to tell them what happened, because someone out there knows what happened, but it's not just sharing that information with the families. And we feel that, that is injustice at the very core, and the families need to find closure. We cannot keep celebrating, or observing, because there's nothing to celebrate, observing these anniversaries without, due cause taking place, without a way forward in terms of how do we avoid Enyobeni from taking place again, because as it stands now, this can happen as a time bomb waiting to explode. So we need to be able to stop that, but government need to level up with the families so that there can be closure. As it stands now, there's no closure.